What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Universal Mastery. Welcome back to my public YouTube channel where I break down the occult sciences and I break them down to a very practical degree so that you can simply use them and apply them in your day-to-day life and get real, actual results with what it is that I'm teaching here on my public channel simply by applying your observation and awareness. Okay, very practical. Now, once again, I'm sharing this information in regards to what I do here for those of you that may be new. I know a lot of you that are watching right now are reoccurring watchers. So if you're new, let me also give you a little bit of a perspective on who I am, just so that you know who you're getting this information from, because that's obviously something that's very important in regards to your psychic self-development. Okay, my name is Jeremiah Schwartz. I am a professional occultist. I am fully initiated in the entirety of the Kabbalistic tree. I'm studied when it comes to the 22 major arcana of the tarot deck, and I'm also studied when it comes to planetary energies in direct association with astrology. Okay, what is the topic of our today's video? This is going to be a very unique topic, and this is actually going to be one of the most important topics that I've ever discussed in regards to the entirety of my YouTube channel, which is obviously saying something very big, saying something very important. So what exactly are we going to be discussing within the context of this here video? I'm going to be discussing some of the secrets of the source itself, okay? So what I'm going to really be doing is I'm going to be sharing an awareness of what all of this evolutionary process is truly about, what everything truly is gravitating towards, and why everything is happening in the way that it's happening, as well as what is the most important thing to be aware of, and to not only just be aware of, but actually understand from experience as to why you're here right now, okay? And this is not something that I'm just going to say as in, this is my perspective, this is only for me, and this is only for a few people that are watching my my YouTube channel or that are coming across this video. This is something in the regards of what I'm going to be sharing within this video that is going to resonate on a soul level with every single individual that consumes this content. This Secrets of Source video is actually going to share some primal truths in regards to other planetary civilizations, other entities, all different types of dimensional beings are actually under the same general cosmic laws in regards to what I'm going to be sharing with the secrets of the source in this video, all in connection with how evolution is functioning from a source perspective. So if this is something that you're intrigued by, then obviously stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to start off with in this YouTube video is lighting my EMF incense stick. Okay, so these are my EMF incense sticks. You can find these at the fourth link in the YouTube description below. You can purchase a bundle of 50. These are incense sticks created by me. And I'm always setting an intention when I go to light these sticks. And if you have your sticks at home right now, now is a great time to light yours to further link into this content. My intention is always to increase my power in any way that needs to become manifest. I'm not going to put boundaries on it. Boom. Right there. Okay. So we have the EMF, electromagnetic frequency incense stick, that is now lit. Okay, so let's go into the video now. So obviously, with the intro of this video, I made it very clear how important of a topic this really is. okay? And I'm not saying this lightly. I'm not saying this because I just want to say it. I'm saying this because it truly is, okay? In regards to everything, the reason why every single one of you that is listening to this right now are here on this planet in regards to whatever dimension it is that you're perceiving reality. Because the reality is different human beings on this planet can perceive different dimensions based on their level of evolutionary self-development. The majority of the humans on this planet are perceiving third density, but then there's going to be some other individuals that are perceiving fourth density, and then it can even progress from that point. Okay, basically all the way up to eighth density, but that is extremely rare on this planet. But long story short, depending on whatever way and whatever lens you have to perceive reality itself, there is one general awareness. There is one general understanding that anything and everything shares. And when I say this, anything and everything shares this, I am talking about other planetary civilizations. I'm talking about other civilizations that aren't necessarily planetary in regards to more so transcendental, more so interdimensional, meaning they don't have planetary spheres of existence, they exist in space itself. Regardless of whatever the species, regardless of whatever it is, regardless of even if you think it is not alive to some level. So for example, plastic. Okay, I'm looking at a plastic bottle in front of me. I'm looking at a wall that's in front of me that makes up this room. Although these things may not be conscious to the degree that we are conscious as human beings, they're still alive, energetically speaking, okay? And the point that I'm trying to make is that everything is striving towards one thing, regardless of what type of entity it is, what type of species it is, what type of person you are listening to this right now. Everything, this plastic bottle, this wall that makes up my room, this is all operating and functioning from an evolutionary perspective towards one thing in a cyclical evolutionary process, which is stepping into the awareness of the source. Okay, so what exactly is the source? The source, in its best way to use words to try to describe it, and I've, described it in other YouTube videos before on my YouTube channel, and you can search my YouTube videos and you can find videos that I have where I discuss the source. And those videos will be titled In the Nature of the Source, which I highly recommend you take advantage of if you want to gain a deeper perspective. But once again, the source and the best way to describe the source with the language of English in the way that I can describe it right now so that you can understand is essentially going to be infinite mind, okay? It is not an entity. It's not an archetype. It's not a being. It's infinite. It's infinite everything at once, okay? Which literally means everything that has an energetic nature to it, whether this energetic nature is conscious, whether it's conscious of its evolution, whether it's conscious of itself, or if it's unconscious, it still has its primary roots and its basis in regards to the energetic makeup that exists and tracks back to the infinite mind, the source, okay? Now, this source, as I've described in my own personal philosophy, which you can watch, that's on my YouTube channel. I have a titled YouTube video where I share my personal philosophy on the source and primal chaos. But regardless, the source produced the first entity. So the source is not an entity, as I mentioned, but it produced the first entity. It produced essentially the first logos that then created its own multiverse, so to speak, its own world as a co-creator. And this cycle continues on and on and on and on and on, almost infinitely, okay? But all of these creations that are coming from different logoses, different co-creators, they're all connected back to that one infinite mind, which is the source. And the primary awareness of the source and the primary understanding of the source is that it creates and it produces evolution in the confines of the awareness that everything is connected to that one mind, that source. Okay? So that means that I am the source. You listening to this are the source. Every single person that I interact with on a daily basis carries that same energetic one infinite mind source connection, which means that I am connected to you listening to this and to every single person that I interact with, because that individual, you listening to this, carry the source within you as I carry the source within me. Now, once again, I'm referring right now in this example to us as human species, but this principle goes beyond just the human species. For example, my pet cat is the source. And when I interact with my pet cat, I'm interacting with the source within my cat that also reflects the source within me, although me and my cat are at different dimensions, different density levels of consciousness. Okay? Once again, this wall in front of me that does not have consciousness is energetically alive. Although it does not have conscious that it is alive, and it does have the source within it. Everything is connected to that one infinite mind, and there would be nothing, none of this would be here, this physical wall would not be here if it wasn't rooted in the one infinite mind, which is the source. So the source gave the energetic ability through its co-creators to produce the multiverse and galaxy in regards to this planetary sphere, Earth, and our solar system, to then shape this wall that's in front of me that blocks me off from everything around me in my environment, so that I can make this YouTube video discussing one of the most important principles that exists in regards to anything and anyone's evolution in peace. Okay, and here I am doing this. Okay, so everything is connected to the source, and this is literally the most important, once again, awareness that you can really start to develop and start to cultivate. Okay, and when I say this, I'm sharing information with you that you can understand logically, and you can also start to understand intellectually, we could say. You can understand this analytically, and you can understand this from a knowledge point, okay, with this information that I'm sharing, and that will serve you. But I do want to make it clear that there's a difference from just knowing this knowledge that I'm sharing with you from someone or something that is actually embodying this state of being. What do I mean by that? There's a difference in regards to having a logical awareness of the knowledge that I share of what the source is between that type of person and someone who's actually being the embodiment within the state of density, we could say, within the state of consciousness where they recognize they are the source and they behave that way. They act that way. They interact with their environment with the awareness that they are the source, and they're constantly interacting outside of themselves with that same source. So the point that I'm trying to make is there's levels to consciousness. We all know it. I mean, even within the general, primary spiritual community, you hear everyone talking about 3D consciousness, 4D, 5D, 6D, yet no one really knows what that actually means. There's a way more nuance, and there's way more depth that goes into this subject that once again flies way over many people's heads. And that's important to understand before you just listen to some new age spiritualist who just wants to say, "Oh, I logically grasped the idea of what the source is, so therefore I'm a six-dimensional being. I'm a 6D being." And the point that I'm really trying to nail into the coffin right now is that there's a very profound separation between someone who logically and analytically can grasp the knowledge, between someone who not only analytically and logically can grasp the knowledge, but integrate it into their physical body and within their energy fields and actually act as that state of being where that knowledge comes from. There's a very big difference. Okay, so most of these new age spiritualists, they are not the state of being where they are able to emanate the source from an emanation perspective. So long story short, I don't even need to be talking about this video. I don't even need to be mentioning the source and the knowledge and the awareness of the source, because I'm aware of what the source means from my level of awareness and my consciousness. And I really know what it means because I went through the alchemical transformations that led me to becoming aware of the source and everything that's entailed with that awareness. So naturally, whether I'm speaking about the subject or not, which I am in this video, but hypothetically, if I wasn't, I'm still emanating that awareness from my energy field. This is happening at an unconscious and a subconscious level. That's why a lot of people listen to my content and they consume some of the videos that I make, and they start to notice not only are they gaining knowledge and are they gaining awareness because they're starting to grasp on to some of the knowledge that I'm sharing with their logical mind, but a lot of people are also starting to recognize their lives are changing in correspondence, meaning it's almost like there's people that are able to consume this content and in a reoccurring manner listen to some of my videos and notice they start going through certain forms of initiation that are in alignment with alchemical transformations, helping them to step into deeper awareness of the true primal nature of their soul, shifting them from different densities. Okay, the point that I'm trying to make, if you didn't understand what I said, is that there is always, and this goes for everybody, there's an emanation taking place with your energy field. And that emanation is affecting your environment. The more of an emanation you have, the more consciousness you have, the more awareness you have, essentially of the source, the stronger that emanation becomes, meaning it can affect wider ranges. It can affect more profoundly rather than just the third density. Moving up to the fourth density, it has more of an emanation, more of an influence. Moving up to the fifth density, even more so. Sixth density, even more so, and so forth, and so forth. Okay? So there are people that are consuming this content that I'm making, and their physical realities are actually starting to change in correspondence to what energy is emanating through this camera, through this screen that you're listening to right now, and it's affecting you, causing you to choose a certain path for evolution. Okay, and there are different paths you can take, and different paths are for different people. Okay, and I'll make a whole different video on that. But yeah, there is a difference between essentially the positive polarity and the negative polarity in regards to what spiritual path you choose. Okay, once again, I'll make a different video on that subject, but the most important thing to really understand is that nothing happens for no reason. Everything that you may consider to be random to your mind has a deep-rooted evolutionary purpose. So although you may think it's random, you may think it's good, or you may think it's bad, or you may think it's not fair, or you may think it's fair. The point is, everything is happening in the exact way it needs to happen based on the source's evolution, and you carry the source within yourself. Okay? Now, I am going to speak a little bit on the two different ways to develop that source connection that do fall along the lines of the positive polarity or the negative polarity. Now, you can serve the source by service to others, where you recognize the source first and foremost within yourself, and then you serve others because you recognize the sources in others around you. So by serving others in your environment, you are essentially serving the source, which is also you. You're serving that infinite mind. Okay, that's one way to serve the source. This would be the more so positive evolutionary path to take, the more so positive polarity. Okay, and there are many people that take that path, and there are also many people that try to take that path and miserably fail because they truly do not recognize the source for what it is, and they don't step into that state of being, and they get consumed by sense of self-importance and consumed by their identity and proving things. Now, the other pathway is the negative path, where, in a nutshell, you recognize you are the source and you serve yourself because you recognize you're the source, and your evolutionary role is to emanate an example to other people who are going to be choosing that same pathway. Okay? So most of you that consume my content, most of you are going to be on that path of the negative polarity, the darker path, the deeper unconscious, subconscious path, where you are recognizing the source within yourself. You're realizing everything truly is connected through that deep root of the source itself, and this is the entire process of evolution itself. But you're choosing the path to serve the source within you by creating an emanation from that self-service, from recognizing you are serving the source within yourself, recognizing that that emanation is going to influence others to serve the source within themselves, simultaneously helping the source evolve. So this is the difference. This is one of the most primary differences between the positive polarity and the negative polarity, the positive path and the negative path of evolution, the Christ between the Antichrist. Now, I'm going to make a whole video on this topic because it gets very nuanced and it gets into very much depth. But the point that I'm trying to make is that these two paths are different, but at a certain point in evolution, they lead into the same path, which is recognizing you are the source and helping the source spread its own awareness of the self. So regardless whether you're choosing the positive polarity or the negative polarity, in its most primal evolutionary state, that positive and that negative charge come together basically as the one, come together into the source, the one infinite mind. And this, once again, gets very nuanced, and it can be a little bit hard to understand. And I completely understand that because it's something that I'm still learning. Okay, as well as I'm teaching these concepts and I'm teaching these understandings, I'm also learning simultaneously. Okay, and there's a lot that I personally have to learn in regards to these subjects, but there's also a lot that I already know, and that's why I'm teaching. Okay, but long story short, everything is connected to the source, no matter what path you choose, whether it's the positive polarity, whether it's the negative polarity. You will eventually come into the density, the awareness that the positive and the negative work simultaneously together to create that perfect, we could call it harmony or balance, that produces the perfect emanations for evolution. And if you can walk through life realizing that you are the source, that you carry the source within you, you are truly the creator, you are that infinite mind. And as you interact with the world around you, depending on what levels of density you're interacting with, what levels of consciousness you're interacting with, regardless, you're interacting with the source as well. You're interacting with that same infinite mind. If you can walk in life with this awareness, you can have a much deeper appreciation for your own evolutionary growth. Okay, you can have a much more profound and a much more deep appreciation for this evolutionary process that we're in right now. And truly, and once again, I'll make a whole nother video on this topic. Obviously, I'm sure a lot of you recognize this. We are in a world that within this planetary sphere of Earth, we are in a negative polarity, meaning the negative polarity is thriving, okay? And in this planetary sphere, for quite some time now, the negative polarity has always thrived, which means that if you choose the negative path, if you choose the Antichrist path, you essentially get more success in this planetary sphere in regards to what we would consider success. Better finances, more sex, more freedom, all of these things. Okay, so this is the reason why some people will choose the negative path. Although that path it's not an easy path to take, it does require alchemical changes and transformation, and even people that choose the negative path do not successfully attain the benefits from that path because they don't have the awareness and the willpower to go through the alchemical changes. Once again, it's not an easy path. Whatever path you choose, the positive or the negative, they're not easy paths if you're going to be getting to your highest potential with those paths. Once again, the people that choose the positive path, most people that choose that path do not make it to their highest potential, their deepest soul's awareness, specifically of the source within themselves and the state of being where they recognize that. And the same goes for that negative path. But once again, in this planetary sphere on Earth, which is primarily a third and a fourth density planet, the negative polarity rules this planet. So people that have, throughout the evolutionary cycles, have chose the negative path, the negative polarity, these are going to be the people that thrive and are considered the elite or the successful in this planetary sphere, okay? And there's a reason for that, and it's not that it's good versus bad. We're talking about positives and negatives, and there's a reason as to why the negative polarity thrives amongst the positive polarity on this planet, but we also need to take into account what happens once the end of this cycle on this planet happens. And then that branches out into a whole nother stage of evolution. And this is where, the awareness of, what state of mind were you in when that cycle ended. So there's a lot of nuanced stuff that comes into play, and I'm definitely going to make different videos on this subject because I'm sure a lot of you are wanting to know these types of things. And personally, I find them very fascinating myself. And once again, I'm still learning myself. Okay, there's a lot that I'm learning about the galaxy. There's a lot that I'm learning about the multiverse's configuration and how these things function in regards to the different cycles that take place specifically on our planetary sphere, which is Earth. And when I say cycles, I mean, how many years does it typically take until these mass catastrophic events happen? And why do these events happen? Things in that nature. And I'm starting to understand some of these concepts. And as I'm understanding them, I'm sharing some of the information and teaching some of the things that I personally know. But once again, the most important thing and the reason why I was making this video is to recognize that regardless of whatever path you choose, positive polarity or negative polarity, as you move into these higher densities, 5th, 6th, 7th, and then 8th, you're no longer primarily just on the positive or the negative polarity. You are intertwined together, and basically the evolutionary purpose at that point is to maintain order and maintain balance in regards to the different galaxies, and specifically talking about our planet, our galaxy, and our cosmos, and things in that nature. So everything that is living, everything that is conscious, to whatever degree that it is conscious, is actually striving towards higher densities of stepping into awareness of the state of being the source. So rest assured that every single thing that is living, every single thing that is conscious, whatever level of consciousness that it's at and however it's living, it is striving towards that evolutionary state of being, which is the source, the one infinite mind. And this is literally the most important thing that you can at least be consciously aware of and logically, intellectually grasp for yourself and hold on to and allow to program into your soul and into your energy field so that you can let this knowledge start to integrate and then turn into experience, turn into and unfold into alchemical changes for yourself, where you don't just have the knowledge, but you actually step into the state of being where you're interacting with the world around you as if you have the source within yourself and you see the source in other people around you, depending on whatever path you choose, the positive polarity or the negative polarity, whether you're serving the source within yourself because you know you are the source, and when you are serving yourself in that manner, you're actually serving evolutionary processes that are connected to the source, or if you're primarily serving those around you because you're serving the source that is within those other individuals around you. So as you're serving other individuals, you're essentially serving that same source that is within yourself, whatever path you choose. And it's not like if you choose the positive or the negative path that you can only do one or the other. I mean, obviously what I do here is I'm serving, I'm spreading awareness of the source itself with the intent that other people are going to be gravitated towards this information and use it for their evolutionary purpose. But as well as I'm sharing this public information and aware of this intent that I have to spread this awareness of the source, I'm primarily doing it to build up my empire. I'm doing it to increase my own evolutionary power. Okay, that's the main root reason as to why I personally do what I do. So, for example, someone may message me and ask me a question in regards to, hey, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to evolve, this is what I'm experiencing. Let's say, for example, someone messages me on Instagram, and I may see the message, and I may consciously make the decision to not answer that message. Now, there's a bunch of other reasons as to why I may not be answering the message, and it's not that I'm, just being an asshole and I'm ignoring the person. But on the other hand, there are other people that are going to serve me and invest in paying me for the answers to their questions. So over the person who just messages me on Instagram asking for free advice, although I could give this person advice and it could aid their evolutionary growth, I would ignore that person and give my time and attention to another person who's investing in me, increasing my evolutionary experience on this planet because they're paying me for my time and energy and my information. Therefore, that's serving me, that's serving the source within myself, that's me acknowledging that conscious awareness, and then I'm going to serve that person because they've increased my physical empire, so to speak, or they've increased my personal evolution. And this is the path that I chose. This is the path that I operate by. And this is that nuanced example that I just want to create for you. But regardless, once again, it's, whatever path you choose, it is a balanced path. I have this public YouTube channel. Okay, there are many people that are consuming this content, like this video, for a great example, that are going to get free value. They're going to get free evolutionary information. And that's also going to serve me because at the end of the day, it is all about this evolution towards that state of infinite mind, evolution towards the state of being the source yourself. Okay, recognizing you are the source. And you will always get value in those regards. But there are many different nuances as to why the negative polarity, the darker path, the deeper unconscious and subconscious path has more so success on this planetary sphere. Now, this difference can be different for different planetary spheres, but in regards to Earth's planetary spheres, being predominantly third density and fourth density, the negative polarity controls everything, and it actually structures the downfall and the inversions of the positive polarity to further serve the negative polarity. And that's just the planet that we live on. And once again, there are evolutionary reasons as to why that is. And there are very few people that are going to incarnate into the awareness of what it is that I'm sharing right now, with the awareness of the negative polarity. And if you want to take advantage of this evolutionary game here on this planetary sphere and get the most out of it, then you should choose the negative polarity in those regards. Now, just because I'm sharing this information with you does not mean that's the path that your personal soul should take or is going to take. And you will know that through your intuition. Okay, some people are meant to be the positive polarity, and there will be people that are successful along that journey and along that path. Although there will be many people who are not successful and then have to, once the cycle ends, start over in a whole different reincarnation within the third density and do it over again. So that's the point that I wanted to make. You know, there does have to be that level of a balance between the positive and the negative polarity, but it's not the type of balance that you would think in regards to just 50-50. It's a different type of planetary, a different type of cosmic and galaxy type of balance that is beyond our conscious awareness. Okay, but in regards to the source and all of us moving towards that same evolutionary purpose of recognizing that we are the source and everything around us is also the source, and we're all moving towards that state of oneness, that state of infinite mind, with that awareness, you can evolve in a much more effective way because you understand why these planetary spheres, like Earth, like the planet we're on right now, exist in the first place. All of this exists in regards to physical incarnations. When you're in these different physical densities, going all the way up to the 8th density, all of this exists because it's based on evolution. Okay, and there are, once again, different levels to this evolutionary awareness. There are different levels of consciousness that fall into this evolutionary process. But all that's really important to understand, and all that you really need to have for this video to offer you value, is that this is what everything is based on. So there is no good and there is no evil. Okay, there is no right and there is no wrong. Okay, it is all happening the exact way it needs to happen. And you are exactly where you need to be right when you need to be there. And you have free will because the source allowed you to have free will. And you allowed yourself to have free will because the source is also within you. So that means whatever quote unquote mistake you make, it's actually not a mistake. It was exactly what you needed to do in regards to your evolutionary role. But the more aware you become of the source in yourself, the more you can start to evolve to higher densities, higher levels of awareness, and then start to make decisions on how you're going to take advantage of your, we could say, incarnations, so to speak. Okay, so you're not somebody who's living a, we could say, shitty lifestyle, somebody who's living a life that is unfortunate. Because, you know, at the end of the day, when you pass, you're moving on into a whole different dimension. You're not gonna, the way we understand fear, anxiety, pain, and suffering in this physical plane on the sphere of Earth does not exist when you pass. It does not exist in that astral, we'll just say it does not exist in the astral plane where you go once you pass. Now, you do have to relearn some of the lessons that you did not fully understand here on this planet, which may not be the most fun to experience, but eventually you will learn those lessons and you will reincarnate again. And then you will have to keep being in these cycles until you evolve your consciousness. Okay, as I was saying, moving up the densities. And yeah, we'll leave it there. Okay, I definitely shared enough within this video, but you have the knowledge, you have the awareness to step into the state of being that I'm talking about in regards to the source within yourself. And that is the main purpose of me making this YouTube video. And I know there are going to be a lot of people that are gravitated, that are attracted and pulled to this video specifically because of the importance of this information that is within this video. Okay, I'm already aware of that. And I know there's going to be a lot of newer people that are also going to listen to this video, not just reoccurring members that are a part of my Patreon and YouTube subscribers, which it's great to have you in here, and I know you all are here as well, getting this information. You've obviously been evolving on your path, uh, expediting your evolutionary growth based on some of the things that I'm teaching and your own personal practices. But I also am well aware that there are going to be a lot of newcomers that are attracted to this video that have never seen any of my YouTube content, and they're going to hear this video and they're going to run with it. Okay, and that's the reason why I'm making this video. It's very important to understand. And remember, from the beginning of this video, I mentioned this is probably the most important video that I've ever made. So take note of that. Okay, I'm not saying that lightly. I've made a lot of videos, by the way. I mean, on my channel, I think it tells me I've made close to 600 different videos. A lot of them are over an hour long. And I'm telling you, this is probably the most important video that I've ever made. And that is not light. It is not something that is supposed to go right over your head. But, if it does, it does. Once again, the information is not meant for everybody. But for those of you that can absorb it and use it, congratulations. Okay, we'll leave it there. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this content, definitely make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Okay, why would you not do that? Then make sure you hit the notification bell, because I post videos as often as I can, and with content like this, you absolutely do not want to miss out. Okay, could you imagine if there was something on your mind that you needed to know and you wanted to hear somebody talk about, specifically me, and then you thought about it, and the next thing you know, a couple days later, I release a video on exactly what it is that you need to know or what it is that you wanted to hear? Well, let me inform you that that actually does take place, and it all happens on that deep unconscious, subconscious plane, and you can take advantage of it by hitting the notification bell and getting notified when I post videos, because oftentimes you'll be thinking about something, and then I'll make a video on exactly what it is that you're thinking about. So go ahead, do yourself a favor, and hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when that happens. Okay? The next thing is hit the subscribe button, because if you're not yet subscribed to my public YouTube channel, then you're making a very profound mistake. Okay? Why are you making a mistake? Because if you hit the subscribe button, you're further linking into this content, creating a stronger link between me and between you. And there really is a psychic principle that comes into play with that. So if you want to get the most bang for your buck, hit the subscribe button. If not, forget about it and don't come back. Okay. The next thing I want to say is you have my full permission to copy and paste this link and send it out to anybody that you feel like or think this content would offer value to. Okay, family, friends, social media platforms, you have my full permission. My primary intention is to spread this content like a wildfire. Okay, so go ahead and do so. The next thing I would like to say is add me on Instagram. Literally right there, you can't miss it. JER_477. Extremely easy to type in. Okay, go ahead and add me on Instagram and see what I do over on social media platforms. Okay. Now, if you would like to take advantage of a private Facebook community, you can do so. Click the little drop down, that little arrow drop down that will take you into the description. Scroll down. You're eventually going to come across a post that says private Facebook community. Now below that, there's a link. Click the link, follow where the link takes you, and you can request to join within a private Facebook group of over 400 members that are posting daily very valuable information. Okay, and I'm telling you this because I've observed it myself. There's people that post things in there that offer me tons of value. I take full advantage of my own private Facebook community because people are posting some very valuable information and content in there, and why not take advantage of it if it's in there? So if you want to take advantage of the same thing, request to join within the private Facebook group. Okay, if not, don't do it. Now, I'm going to take your awareness to the most important link that is in the entirety of this YouTube description. Okay, click the little drop down. It's the first link at the top. You cannot miss it. It says my Patreon. On my Patreon, I have an entire vault of exclusive occult content that is not on my public YouTube channel, and that is for many, many, many different reasons. Okay, I have content that comes in the form of live streams that are most typically over an hour long, with tons of valuable golden nuggets of information embedded within those live streams that are in the form of a Q&A, question answer format. Then I have blog posts that share some of the most primal and profound occult concepts and principles that you really need to understand to get the most out of your psychic self-development. And then I have videos that come in the format of being very similar to this video, except it's more advanced and it's more personal, okay? Then as you move into tier 3 and up, you're gaining access to an entire magic training course, which I think and feel would be extremely valuable, especially if you're a beginner occultist and you're looking for a structured system of developing your psychic capabilities, okay? That would be for tier 3 and up for the magic training course. Then as you move to tier 4, this is the highest tier on my Patreon. Now, as well as this is the highest tier on the Patreon, this is also the most popular tier on the Patreon. So that means all 180 members of the Patreon, most of them are actually top tier members. Okay, so that alone speaks for itself. Now, what I do there is I perform an advanced occult ritual on the participants of that tier. This ritual is designed to be called the Universe.B Vampire Service. Okay, so what I do is I perform this ritual to change the energetic structure of your being to be more so Universe.B dominant. So what does this mean? This gives you the ability to exist within the areas of our multiverse that are more so dark energy in nature, more so charged with the negative polarity. And rather than being harmed by these areas within the multiverse, you start to gain power and awareness from them. Okay, so the way that this naturally manifests on you physically is you become more receptive to your unconscious and subconscious mind, and you start to develop the psychic capability to pull in energy from chaos and dark energy in your environment and then transmute it, or we could say turn it, into your own power and potential. Therefore, it's called the Universe.B Vampire Service, because I literally turn you into a vampire, okay, an energetic vampire. And vampires truly control this planetary sphere of Earth, okay? So we'll leave it there. If that's something you want to take advantage of, first link in the YouTube description, tier 4. We'll leave it there. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to give a special shout out to all of the Patreon members, specifically all of you listening to this right now, and I know you're here, okay? Huge shout out to all of you, okay? I appreciate all of you specifically for taking your knowledge, practices, and your studies to that other side. Huge shout outs, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Now, the second link that I want to take your awareness to within the YouTube description is the second link in the YouTube description. I mean, you can't miss it. Second link down. This is where you can book your own unique tarot card reading with me, okay? This is a tarot card reading that I promise you have never received before, okay? Within this tarot card reading, I can literally pinpoint exactly where you are on the Kabbalistic tree. And I can tell you what you're feeling, experiencing, and going through in the present moment, and then tell you what to expect as you move into your near and your long-term future based on how you're traveling through the multiverse or how you're traveling through that Kabbalistic structure, okay? And I can do this because I'm very aware of the Kabbalistic tree and very studied when it comes to the Kabbalistic tree, way more than the average person. So I have done well over 450 readings at this point. I do about a reading every single day, and I've been doing this for months now, and I get huge amounts of amazing feedback. So I appreciate all the great feedback. If you want to take advantage of this, second link below, go ahead and book your reading, okay? We'll leave it there. Ladies and gentlemen, the third link in the YouTube description, you can't miss it, third link down. This is where you can become a YouTube member, where you're going to gain a bunch of benefits. Specifically, when I'm doing live streams, your name appears as green. You have a special occult badge next to your name, which is a sigil that appears next to your name. First starts off as a planetary energy, then it moves into a sigil after a month. And as I said, you have that badge that appears next to your name when I do live streams, which means I give you special shout outs. You have the ability to leave a question every single month within the live chats that appears in the same format as a super chat. But most importantly, the benefits that you unlock when you become a YouTube member are what I call the Psychic Warfare Emoji Program. Okay, so as soon as you become a YouTube member, you're unlocking a sequence of emojis that I've designed myself that are based on occult principles that can be used in a certain configuration, and then you can link in a target, and it will actually cause psychic damage to a target of your choice. It is the most simple form of using psychic warfare through the platform of the emoji system on YouTube. Okay, there are over 1,000, well over 1,000 posts of people who have used it already, and as we speak, there are people using it. So if you want to take advantage of it, third link below. We'll leave it there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last link. This is the EMF incense stick, and so far we are about 50 minutes into the YouTube video, and there is still about, I want to say, 15 minutes left on the incense stick as I'm looking at it behind me. So the fourth link in the YouTube description is where you can get these EMF incense sticks. You place your order. I will immediately, as soon as I can, when they're ready, ship out a bundle of 50 of these sticks to you. Now, obviously, if you order 2 bundles, it'll be 100. You get the point. But these are incense sticks that I promise you have never come across before. And I designed them myself. Okay, so first of all, they're organic sticks. They're long-lasting. Each stick is longer than your typical traditional stick, and it's going to burn at a minimum of an hour long, and they're all tried and tested by me. As well as the fact that I put in a special formula for the scents of these sticks in which they soak. And this formula is designed around the 11th sphere on the Kabbalistic tree to create further manifestation when you use the sticks. Okay. Now, as well as this occult formula, one of the scents itself is an essential oil. Okay, so this essential oil, the natural properties of it, help give access to deeper areas of your unconscious and subconscious mind, which is wonderful if you're using the scents for sitting in silence or doing any sort of ritualistic practices. And then, as well as the liquid that these scents sit in for 24 hours, I put in 11 drops of real monatomic gold. And this is where they get their electromagnetic frequency property, on top of the fact that the liquid base sitting in it are real quartz crystals and real citrine crystals. So they're also charging on that level as well. So once again, these are incense sticks that I promise you've never come across before. If you purchase your bundle, you can compare them next to a traditional incense stick, and they look nothing alike. They smell amazing. They smell different than anything else you've come across as well. And they are very powerful, and we'll leave it at that. Okay, so if you want to get your hands on these EMF incense sticks, definitely do so. Fourth link in the YouTube description. I'll ship them out to you. Okay, we're going to leave it there. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate all of you, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day or night, wherever you are, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.